Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jon Myer Podcast. Today's topic, no code needed, nurturing a tech community. And now, before we get to our topic, how about we give our guests a chance to introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, I'm Nana from Tech Nana, which is a YouTube channel that we started actually 3.5 years ago. And till now we have a collective number of around 950,000 subscribers, engineers that are actively subscribed to our channel, which for us was a huge surprise because I didn't know that so many people would be interested in DevOps and cloud field, but here we are, and I am very passionate about both DevOps and cloud and all the technologies involved here and all the trends that basically are happening in these areas. So I'm continuing to make videos and tutorials in those fields.
Nana, I got to ask you, did you ever think 3 years ago you would be as big as you are now?
Uh, Honestly, 3 years ago, I would never think that I would be a tech YouTuber or influencer. And I also didn't think I would be a DevOps engineer or cloud engineer because my path was completely different. I was actually a software developer working on a startup in a real estate industry. So all of that was basically completely off to what I'm doing now. So that would have been a huge shock for me if someone told me, "Hey, you're going to be a YouTuber for DevOps field." So yeah.
Can you walk me through how you got started as a YouTuber in the DevOps field and creating content?
It was a complete accident, to be honest. So YouTube for us started as a side project. So as I said, we were working on a startup. So me and my co-founder, currently co-founder of Tech Nana, we were both software developers. So we basically said we can code. We have interest in real estate, so let's create some application or web application in that field. And because as statistics also show startups usually fail, and we also did. We were not exception. It is a really difficult thing to basically start something completely new and try to revolutionize the industry, whatever. And we had kind of like a time window where the startup failed, and we were kind of looking for the next thing to do. Besides our freelance job as a software developer, software engineer, both of us, and since I had acquired in my last freelance project, I had acquired knowledge of Kubernetes, which was for me a painful 1 year experience of basically just trial and erroring stuff and setting up the whole Kubernetes cluster in a huge company where I was the only one working on that. So it's like, there are a lot of people who need Kubernetes, who think Kubernetes is this scary black box, this magic thing that, is very complex. So let me just make videos about explaining people that it's not as scary if you understand like the basic concepts. And basically we really plan to create like a Kubernetes playlist from start to finish, and that would have been it. Like that was the whole project. And we would just share it on YouTube. I was hoping to, have like a couple of thousand people view those videos. I would have been happy about the feedback if my videos helped some people in their Kubernetes projects, whatever. And we basically decided to make that a project. And as we started sharing those videos from the playlist, we saw this huge resonance from people who are like experienced engineers, and they're like, "Yeah, I actually need Kubernetes in my project, and I couldn't find a proper resource to learn about it, and your videos actually really helped." And that feedback kind of showed us right at the beginning that the videos were really resonating with people. We were kind of solving the problem of scarce resources on Kubernetes trainings, and before we were even done with the playlist, we kind of decided, yeah, let's ditch the startup idea. Let's actually do this instead. And we were doing it part time next to our freelance projects, actually freelance jobs. And after a couple of probably like 10 months or so, we started doing it full time.
So, Nana, you were talking to us about you created this basically a Kubernetes course and a complete playlist because you were having a problem and you thought others would have the same problem and they had another need. And, when I put my first video out there and I got like 50 views, I was excited. How did you feel when people were being so receptive to your playlist on solving problems that they had?
So basically, the way we promoted our videos, where we didn't just wait for YouTube When you start a YouTube channel, you don't exist for YouTube, right? So we didn't want to wait for YouTube to kind of, pick up our videos and promote it, and because we knew that it would take some time. And I had this weird confidence that the videos that I created, I kind of knew that engineers would profit from those videos because I knew I had this problem and I knew that people had this problem. So we kind of started spamming like different Facebook groups and or like Reddit groups with our videos to kind of push it out and show the content to the people to just get exposure because we needed exposure to actually get the feedback of whether the videos we were creating were actually resonating with the people. And we would get like blocked at sometimes from the Redis admins from the groups, but before they would block us, we would have like lots of upvotes and people were just leaving comments about this is super helpful for my project. After reading hundreds of pages of official documentation, finally understand the architecture, finally understand the components. So that was kind of confirmation. So intuitively, I thought that this would help engineers. So there was a really good confirmation for me that this was actually helping the people. And obviously, every such feedback for us was a motivation to create the next one and to kind of finish the playlist, to complete it, and then continue making those videos.
So you did guerrilla marketing on Facebook and Reddit, and it worked out really well for you because 3 years later, you're huge right now. You're huge in the tech community. You've built a huge community around it.
Yeah, so it definitely paid off. And I think it was a good idea because if our videos were not haven't been as good, we would have also gotten the feedback pretty fast. So we would have at least known, okay, this is not going well. Because if you don't have exposure, you don't have the feedback, so you don't know if you're doing well or not. So I think that was definitely a good way to kind of test that. And as I said, YouTube, it really takes some time for YouTube to even recognize that you have a channel, that you are producing some videos. So we kind of wanted to speed up the process because we're probably too impatient to just wait.
Okay, give me a second. I gotta take some notes to speed up the process of my YouTube channel. Guerrilla marketing 101.
Just spam the
Yeah,
groups.
just spam the group. Exactly. Talk to me about Tech World. Was Tech World created during that lapse between, you're doing the freelance? Was Tech World created, right around when you thought, oh, I need to do this guerrilla marketing, my YouTube channel, I need to get this out there?
Yeah, so the name Tech Nana, we kind of so the reason why it's not DevOps with Nana or cloud with Nana is because, as I said, I had a software development background, and I in some reality takes off, and we kind of become bigger. Then I wanted to have flexibility to do videos on software development as well. So kind of kept it broader with Tech World with Nana. I don't think we thought too much about it, to be honest. So that was like the naming. And with the channel, I have to say that my co-founder was the one who was like, our videos are doing really good. We have really good feedback. Obviously, we didn't have as many views and as many people as we have now. But she said we're onto something here, so we should actually keep creating consistently those videos. So we actually produced one video per week, which was extremely stressful, and I hated a lot of that process to be honest at the beginning. But she said, let's stick to it. So at least we have maxed out the potential, and we have tried everything to see whether it succeeds or not. So she was the one who kind of kept me going to keep creating that one video per week, which I think was another good good thing that we did for YouTube to take us seriously, to show that we're consistently making videos. We're creating one video per week, so it was like a consistent schedule. So all of that was kind of to see where this will go. So I would say for first 6 to 7 months, we didn't know if this was the next project that we would switch to full time. So it was like still like a trial period, so to say. And I don't know if there was like a definite time where we said, okay, like this is it now. But a couple of things that I remember was the first one was a brand sponsorship. So the first money that we made with our YouTube channel, and it was we basically reached out to a couple of cloud platforms. So it was AWS, obviously the large ones, Azure and Google Cloud, and two smaller ones. We never heard from four of them, and only one of them reached out, and there was Linode actually, and they said, "Yeah, we're gonna sponsor two of your videos." I was like, "Okay, we can we can make some money with this with sponsors," which was like the typical influencer marketing thing. And then the next thing was, okay, we don't really want to be like dependent on sponsors, so let's do something of our own. Let's ask our community what they need to have from us. The obvious one that came up was the course. So we created the course on Udemy. That was the first one. Again, it was like a digital asset that we could now, create and then, sell to our community. And then, and again, this is this whole time we're not 100% sure that we're doing this, and this is like a side project. We both have full-time freelance projects that we're working on, and we're just doing this like a part-time thing. And I think the last thing that really showed us like, okay, now we are going like full in was um, when we started YouTube monetization. So you have to reach a specific limit on YouTube. I think it was 4,000 hours watched and 1,000 subscribers, which is, for a fresh new channel, can
1,000 is
be.
easy for
Yeah,
subscribers. 4,000 watch hours
that's
is the
true.
hard part.
That is absolutely true. Because it means that people really need to be watching and engaged in your content. And when we reached that, there was another milestone like, okay, now we have the monetization. So it was like these small things. And we did like this huge jump from like a small course and a small sponsorship and a small like YouTube monetization to we created the entire DevOps bootcamp. And there was like for me, a gap that was not filled because you had lots of, separate courses. Like you can learn AWS here and you can learn Docker here, but it wasn't like a full like boot camp or structured course basically where you learn like 10 different technologies in combination. And because it was such a huge project, and because we also saw the feedback from community that they wanted to have this thing, that was probably when we're like, okay, we have to do this full time because it needs a lot of resources from our side to create this thing. And then it was exactly the time when our projects were coming to an end. It was like December or so. And then we said to our project, not employers, but whoever hired us, we said, yeah, we're going to actually not do freelancing anymore. We're going to switch to full-time tech world with Nana. But because I didn't just want to be like a content creator, I wanted to stay an engineer. I switched more to like consulting type of DevOps engineering and a little bit less hands-on where, I had to troubleshoot Kubernetes for like a whole day. So that was the switch where we're like, we're doing this full time.
Now, you keep mentioning this word community. What does community mean to you?
Yeah. So community for me is a group of people that first of all have some, um, they have to have a positive association with your brain. So it's not like I watched some video and I got value from it, but rather, there are people who comment, for example, under our videos. Like whenever I want to learn about a new technology, first thing I do is I go to YouTube and I search Tech for Nana, whatever the technology name is. So I think people who are who kind of grew with us. Like they were at the beginning with the channel. They kind of saw the entire journey of us because I also share a lot of it on my LinkedIn account, like, with behind the scenes and journey and how we're growing. So people who are there on LinkedIn and they comment there, who are on YouTube and watching our YouTube videos, who share the content with each other, like all of these people are part of the Tech World Nana community because they are also a large part of why we grew so much because we had a lots of, especially at the beginning, that probably made YouTube realize that we were producing good content was because we had a lot of external links coming to YouTube from LinkedIn and social media platforms, but also blog articles because people were sharing them and people were kind of spreading the word. So I think a lot of that contributed to YouTube then taking off videos and promoting that on YouTube platform. So they're definitely part of the community because they are um, or they have been an essential element of making Tech as big as it is. So I can't take full credit. So it's kind of for me, it's like of course, we did a lot of work, but then um, the community is the one who is like, I'm sharing it with my colleagues. There are a lot of people who actually have made this as an official, like a lot of videos are part of their official onboarding program in the company. So everyone who comes to the company, who joins the company,
Wow,
they have to
nice.
watch some of our videos as part of their official onboarding, which is like super crazy for me as well.
Okay, that's huge. That's actually a huge accomplishment for technical companies to say, here's your videos that you have to watch. It's not something that they produced, it's something that you did. And you're really taking community to the next level. Not only has community helped you where you're at, right? So they created a lot of backlinks to your videos. They posted on their website, their blogs. You didn't encourage anybody. The community built itself based off the content that you're producing. And now the stuff that you're producing is based off of the customers and the content that is needed and required out there that they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So um, is also even in the beginning when we would post those videos and we would get like a couple of 10 to 50 comments. I usually use those comments as the inputs for the next videos because I was like, okay, what are people thinking about? And usually people would ask for this kind of stuff, which like, this was great video, but can you make the video about this? And I would appreciate if you made like a deep dive into this. And when you read those comments, and I made sure to take time to actually read those comments and reply to those comments because that was for me encouraging them to leave the comments on the next videos as well because it kind of and that's another part of building a community. Like it's not just like here's the content and have fun with it, but when they engage with you and when they leave comments on your YouTube videos or LinkedIn posts, whatever, engaging back to them and showing I've actually read your comments and this is my reply, even if it's like a quick thank you. But I wanted to show them that they should leave like comments, they should engage, they should talk to us and give feedback and whatever, because we basically needed those feedback and those comments to get ideas of the next videos and kind of create content that we knew that people were looking for or expecting, for example.
The customer feedback loop, right? The community feedback loop. That's actually a good word for it, a good name, is that not only are they saying, "Hey, listen, I need a deep dive in this," you can take those, and a lot of companies do that, but they actually don't do anything with the data. They say, "Oh, we need this and this, but we're actually driving towards this." You're taking it from the community and you're building a course or around what they're looking for, a deep dive. And we're not talking specifically about your courses on this because I want to dive into the community and building that and nurturing it. And what does it take to actually nurture a community throughout the entire process? I mean, you're talking to them, you're commenting on them. It's really you, right? Behind the scenes commenting.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
somebody else like, hey, I'm on Nana Sada and just commenting it, but you're personally doing that.
Yeah, it is. It is me, and I think it's gonna be really difficult to delegate that because first of all, I have my own style of engaging with them, and my style is obviously different to how a company or basically someone else than me. And I also made sure to have that character. When I'm communicating, when I'm posting those LinkedIn posts, for example, the people recognize that is Nana and that is like her personality through the post, and the same with the comments. So I would say effort, like time wise or effort wise, it's not as much as you would think that it takes to maintain the community, but it's more like how intentional and deliberate you are with every single post. So we kind of, I don't think it was like a planned thing, but we kind of pivoted towards we create um, not too much content, whether it's YouTube videos or LinkedIn posts or whatever. So few pieces of content, but every single one of them has like deliberate thought into that. So even if it's like those bi-weekly behind the scenes videos, which is posts on LinkedIn, which is basically me telling about how we're building the things, how we're doing. For example, right now as I'm traveling, I'm gonna include some stuff about the reinvent and my experience here, about this podcast, for example. So all of that is like people who already know the videos and who kind of know the Tech Nana brand and they have watched a lot of videos. They want to have this additional thing like how is she doing actually this in the background, how is she creating those courses, how is she creating those videos. So I kind of walk them through the behind the scenes process, which is not a lot of time actually. Like from my side, it's bi-weekly posts, so I just do it once in 2 weeks, which is maybe like 2 hours of time. But me really sitting down and trying to take them on this journey with me, like that itself is a lot of value for them instead of doing some standard posts. And I also try to bring in my personality because I know that people want to see like something that is a little bit refreshing and unique and not like a standard post. So I tried to delegate it actually a couple of times, and I ended up rewriting the entire thing. It was like, no, this is like too standard and boring and stuff like this. So I added like more details and more examples. So as I said, I don't think it takes a lot of time, but it takes a lot of attention to and also understanding what people want to have from you, like what content, what comments, what replies, what messages, and so on.
I think what the community looks forward to with your biweekly or your post on LinkedIn is that it's you. It's not polished. It's quick. It's informative. You're not sitting there. Oh, I got to redo this. I got to clean this up. But it's your natural ability to connect with the community.
Yeah, I think that that is the part because videos, like tutorial videos, is of course I think that the big value in the tutorial videos is they have been struggling understanding this tool and they watch one of our videos about this tool and they finally understood. And this is like a huge value add because it literally relieves you from this frustration that you have. So obviously that has like its own value, but then on LinkedIn I try to offer something in addition to that, which is, as you said, it's like an unpolished version of, okay, who is this Nana? Like, who, the one making those videos. So behind the scenes, I also try to add like more informative stuff on it. In addition to that, like, my time management tips or, how I learn new technologies so fast and, this kind of stuff. So they can actually take away from those as well. So it's so I use it for a different purpose, so to say, to kind of add to their experience, to get to know me a little bit better. Like, who is this Nana behind those videos that I've used to, learn different tools?
Now, we're talking about our topic of no code needed and nurturing a community. And we talked about a couple of the engagement strategies. One of the biggest engagements that I find is the comments, right? So on LinkedIn, you're commenting, YouTube, you're commenting. But what are some other engagement strategies that you can do for the community?
So one thing that I started using actually was to in the videos, in the YouTube videos themselves, I would usually encourage people to take some action. So whether it's them commenting under the video or sharing or suggesting something, for example. So, very often when I create a video about a concept that is relatively recent, so there's a lot of discussion, like it's not clear. So everybody has like different opinion. I genuinely want to, and I ask people in the video, like, share your experience. If you had this specific role, if you have worked with this concept, if you have any experience, just share it in the comments so that other people who actually watch this video, they can additionally learn, like, okay, how is this company using this? How is this company implementing that? So that is one thing that I use, for example, to call out like this call to action in the videos. I don't use many platforms to be honest. So YouTube and LinkedIn are and Instagram recently are like three main platforms. I believe not like instead of being on every platform and trying to do everything, I believe in focusing on a couple of platforms and doing that properly. And as I said, I use everyone for different purposes. So YouTube is obviously the tutorial videos. LinkedIn is like behind the scenes stuff, posts, and Instagram is behind the scenes stories, which is like its own. I hope LinkedIn at some point introduces this feature because it makes it really easy to kind of post the daily behind the scenes updates, which again, surprisingly for me, a lot of people from our community actually follow. So yeah, I do. I think we do few things, but we try to do those like properly, so to say.
I think the difference between you asking others to comment in their YouTube and tell you about their story versus the others who say, "Oh, comment down below," trying to build up their YouTube stuff, is you're genuinely authentic about understanding the community and what problems they're having. and want to engage with them. You're not trying to build a YouTube and make sure the YouTube algorithm pushes you to the top. You want to understand what problems they're having so that you can ultimately A, help them and not just build another course, but actually find the problem and solve it for them.
Yeah, and I think it's a win-win situation because if I ask them to, subscribe and hit the like button or whatever, and I don't offer a reason why, because I just put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, if someone just said that in their video, I wouldn't do it because tell me a reason why, right? So I try to make it a win-win because I want to give you incentive and kind of show you reason why you should do that, right? So, like and subscribe is like, you know, there is not too much incentive behind that, but share your story, share with others. I think that resonates a little bit more. So I use that as a call to action.
When I end this podcast, I'm going to ask people to like and subscribe. So I hope that they have got something from from it, or I'm going to feel like I'm not offering anything. Nana, let's talk about. So first of all, we talked about Tech World, right? And you're like, oh well, we could have named it DevOps, or I think Tech World it allows you open to other opportunities, not centered around DevOps. You could do other types of training, but you can offer technical, right? And technology. But is there more to Tech World than DevOps?
Um, I think so. Till now, we have been pretty much focused on DevOps, and that was actually another thing because we didn't think about the name. We didn't think about the logo. Like this logo that you see here, it was literally like, I think it was some blog article, and they asked us to send them a photo of me and a logo, and we're like, wait, we don't have a logo. And at this point, we're like 100,000 subscribers or so. And my co-founder, she just sketched up like, oh, yeah, this should be good enough. The approach was the same with you know anything around the channel itself, like how the channel looks, the logo, the name. So I think the original idea of keeping it broad and not being DevOps centric still stands. So I think it was a good idea. We are kind of going into cloud and DevOps, like the overlap of that. As you probably already know, platform engineering popped up a couple of years ago. So DevOps is kind of emerging. A lot is happening in the cloud and DevOps field in general, and it's a very dynamic field. So nobody can say for sure whether this is going to stay the same, whether we're going to have like DevOps and cloud and this and that, or whether all of these will get consolidated, whether something new pops up. So I think even from that perspective, just keeping that broad and more inclusive makes sense because there are lots of things that basically will maybe be extracted from DevOps itself or be added to DevOps. So I think there's still a lot to cover in that area. So we don't want to leave that niche, but potentially, when we have more um, resources, I also want to do content around DevOps, like adjacent topics, not like too far away.
Nana, did you just have a community builder day, or did you have like a community event in Los Angeles where everybody got together? What was happening about a month ago that it was your first one, right?
Yeah, so it was actually a Tech with Nana meetup, and it was not only the first Tech with Nana meetup, it was the first ever offline event or like in-person event that I personally have done since we started the YouTube channel.
Wait.
So
It took you 3 years to do your first meetup?
yes. So I have not been to any conference. I have not been to any event or any meetup since we started YouTube channel. I have been to some online ones, but I didn't really like the online ones because it's really like me sitting in front of a laptop and just talking to
Some virtual
screen,
people, right?
some screen. So obviously it's a different experience. So that was the first one. And accidentally, it was also the first one. It was a Tech Nana meetup. So we basically, with one of our partners, they actually organized the entire event. So we kind of showed up with our swag, and that was it. And a lot of people signed up. Obviously, I posted about it in LinkedIn biweekly posts, and a lot of people showed up. And that was like the different experience because even though I have read hundreds or thousands of messages and comments from people like, your content has helped me, and it was, really awesome learning experience. Like having people coming to me like face to face and actually seeing those people live and hearing those, like that was a different experience, obviously, even though the scale was smaller. It was amazing. We kind of timed it to be, we're in San Francisco. That's a tech hotspot, so to say. That's where the engineers are. So let's do the event there.
And how was the event? Like, how did it turn out? Like, there were a ton of people there. It turned out excellent. Are you doing more?
It was amazing. We had a really good turnout. There were people from different companies, different backgrounds. People who just started into DevOps with our YouTube videos. People who had been in our boot camps, or our students. People who just heard about the channel from their friends like 2 weeks ago. So all sorts of people, experienced, non-experienced. So that was really interesting for me to kind of, ask. I was actually asking them like, what you do, which company you work for, what was your journey in DevOps. So that was really interesting for me. And we kind of combined it with a panel talk. So we talked about AI and DevOps intersection, because AI is a hot topic. So we had to kind of put it in the mix. But overall, it was amazing. It was really cool.
Yeah, I got AI in the mix this week to talk about as well, just because. So FinOps, cost optimization, AI, and we get to do this. Why we're here out at reInvent in this fabulous studio. Nana, before we kind of wrap things up, what do you think the future of tech communities look like?
I think right now, especially from speaking from the perspective of DevOps and cloud engineer, I think everything is still like super dynamic, which means there's no stabilization happening anytime soon. In my first assumption was like, if you've asked me like a year ago, it would mean like at some point we need to have some standardization in different categories in cloud and DevOps, because we can't have like 10 tools that do the same exact thing. Usually one of those or one two emerge as a category leader, and because people need to have standardization, just because it's practical. Like if you're a company, if you have projects, you need to have some kind of tech stack that is more standard, because you can hire for these people. You don't have like different tech stack in every company and project. However, what changed is with AI being added on top of it actually made things even more complicated, because on top of those DevOps, different DevOps tools, now we have AI tools that make things even more complex and make the selection or option of tools even wider. So now I think the standardization that I was not hoping, because I still like the this dynamic thing, because I like to see where things are going, and things are developing and improving in the process when things are not standardized yet. Um, but I think that kind of pushed it towards the future even more, because now we have a little bit more to consolidate here. So I think it's going to stay exciting and dynamic for at least 5 6 years, and then we'll see if something additionally comes into play, or we at least consolidate some of the tool set.
I think 5, 6 years in tech terms, right, is decades. 6 months in tech is like 5 years. It goes so quick, and if you step out of tech for any period of time, to get back into it takes a little bit to ramp up, because you've missed certain things that have happened. Before we wrap things up, what's next for you?
For us, actually, recently we decided we had all these ideas. Let's do like the let's think about the platform. Let's think about this. But I realized, or we realized actually, that our main value that we are good at is creating content, educational content about complex topics. So I think that is exactly the path that we want to go onto, to just scale it, to increase our community, to grow our community, to cover more concepts, more topics, and just do more of what we have been doing till now. Because I think when you find your strength, and when you find your USB, you should just double down, triple down on that.
Can you leave our audience with anything, maybe a piece of advice for aspiring community builders?
I think the number one piece of advice would be to always try to put yourself in the shoes of your an average community member of your community, because everything I do, starting from the video script creation to the comments that I answer or the LinkedIn posts I create, everything is reverse engineered to what do I think that viewer, the reader, would get the most value in and would be most interested in. And then I just reverse engineer from that. I even think about what questions they would have, and I structure my video based on those questions. So just think from the perspective of your average community builder, community member.
Definitely. That's a good sound advice. Nana, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, everybody. This topic has been No Code Needed, Nurturing a Tech Community. My name's Jon Myer. You've been watching the Jon Myer Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And yes, this is my offering to you, a natural style conversation that we try to bring on for it. And guess what, folks? We're out of here.